When the first generation Ducati Scrambler Icon, that's the 800cc model, came out in India back in 2015, well, anyone who rode that motorcycle, including me, really fancied it because, well, although it was minimalistic in styling, well, it really, out on the road, it really went like a proper Ducati. The power to weight, the dynamics, the handling, everything was really impressive. Now, it's taken almost 8 years for Ducati to come up with the second generation model. That's the motorcycle you see before you right here. And we're out here to tell you what this motorcycle brings to the table. Now, although the second generation Scrambler may resemble the older model from afar, step closer and all the changes that Ducati have made on this bike become evident. In fact, the Italian bike maker says that this motorcycle is around 70% new. So let's get into it. Up front, the LED headlight with its DRLs and the X design smack in its center, all new. The tail light and the indicators this time around are all LED as well. The bike gets new Kayaba suspension at both ends. Up front, you have an upside down fork, which is non-adjustable, while at the rear, you get a preload adjustable, slightly offset monoshock. Now, both these units offer a good 150 mm of wheel travel. The knobby Pirelli MT60 RS treads with the wide design 18 and 17-inch cast wheels enforce that rugged, bare-bones look of this bike. The display is now a 4.3-inch color TFT screen, which makes the older LCD unit look very outdated. There's a ride-by-wire throttle on there now, which gives you 2 customizable ride modes. And from there, you have 2 power modes and 4 levels of traction control settings to set things up just the way you like. You can even switch off traction control completely. ABS, however, can't be switched off at the rear, which isn't really ideal for when you venture off the beaten path, but there is cornering ABS thrown in there for good measure when you are out on paved surfaces. The Icon also gets a slipper clutch, which makes the left lever feel nice and light. Put in some more money and you can also have the multimedia system on there, and even a quick shifter is available as an accessory. Moving on, there's improved switchgear at both ends of the bar, and the flat bench seat and those quarter panels that lay under it are new as well. I absolutely love the way the rerouted exhaust pipe now wraps around the engine, and with that short end can, not only do these things help make the bike look brilliant in the flesh, but with those new heat shields on, well, there's some functional sense to it all as well. Lastly, the number plate has been relocated to the tire hugger compared to the older model. All said and done, this new motorcycle looks a lot neater than the first generation model with no wires poking out at you. But it doesn't end just there. This new gen model also has a neat party trick up its sleeve. Now, really interesting bit about this particular motorcycle's design and styling aspects will have to be these yellow plastic panels that you can see all over the motorcycle, from the mudguard to the small panels over the headlight, over the tank and the tail section as well. These can all be interchanged for different color panels. Now, Ducati have around 7 to 8 of them, different colored panels for you to choose, and you can mix and match with this particular motorcycle, and that's really cool and quirky. Although this is one of the most simple looking Ducati motorcycles you'll come across on the Italian manufacturer's latest menu, well, with its impeccable fit and finish, it looks and feels like a proper modern day Ducati motorcycle. Ducati motorcycles are known for something else, and that is performance. And just like before, with one flick of the throttle, you'll find this bike full of character in true Ducati fashion. Now, a real treat of this motorcycle has to be that 803cc L-twin engine. Now, it makes a maximum power of around 75 PS at little over 8,000 RPM. This engine, although it's air-cooled, it does land up to be a little bit tricky out in Indian traffic conditions, but once you hit that open stretch, whack the throttle open, right from the low end, all the way from 3,000 all the way up to around 7,500 RPM, this thing just flies out in the road. And with the ride-by-wire throttle, spot-on fueling, and that lovely power-to-weight ratio, now this motorcycle weighs a little over or around 185 kgs, which is approximately the weight of the 411 Himalayan. This thing is just ballistic out on the road. This motor gives you a good taste of Ducati-esque performance. Revving hard through the gearbox is an absolute delight, and the motor can be quite tractable at low speeds as well. There's a good amount of vibes to be felt through the bars and the pegs, but it bodes well with the character of this motorcycle, and it never feels intrusive even over long distance rides. Swinging your leg over this bike isn't a problem with its 795 mm seat height. Yes, of course, there are higher and lower seat options for you as well, for an additional fee of course. And when it comes to the aspects of ride and handling, this second generation Icon being 4 kgs lighter than before thanks to the lighter steel trellis frame with the bolt-on subframe, the engine, new swing arm, well, it feels light and extremely easy to manage once you set off. It actually feels quite narrow and compact once you get aboard, unlike most other 800cc motorcycles out there, and the seating arrangement for 2-up feels very adequate. The suspension is slightly on the stiffer side of things, which isn't a real bad thing at all considering this bike's ferocious performance. Twist the throttle lightly and you will see that it isn't as snatchy as it was before, and if you want to ease off and enjoy a more relaxed ride, well, this bike will let you go about it very nicely. The fueling is so spot on with the ride-by-wire system on there, you can maintain certain speeds a lot easier than before. Once you hit an open stretch of road and you let her rip, you'll hit silly speeds in no time, which is brilliant. But what's better are those 4-pot calipers biting down on the 330mm single front rotor. Phenomenal stopping power and great balance all throughout. Lean into corners and the tires grip the road surprisingly well considering their pattern. But the front end does feel extremely light. And if you hit a bump mid-corner, well, things do get a bit unsettled. Encounter some rough terrain, no problem once you brace yourself, because the current suspension setup isn't going to give you the magic carpet treatment. It does give you a real good feel of the terrain you're on, quite frankly, and that's the way this bike was designed to be. This is what the motorcycle was designed to do, and if that is your scene and fancy, know that it does it well. Thanks to the wide handlebar, you have a good command of things when the road gets rough. Even standing up on trails isn't a problem with the Icon. And if you want to have some fun off-road, this bike makes it so easy with all that power and minimal weight. Though the Scrambler Icon was always seen as an entry-level motorcycle to the Ducati brand, so to speak, well, this new bike still remains a motorcycle that will welcome you to the true Ducati ownership experience in laudable style. And this time around, it's got some delightful second-gen sprinkles by way of features. Now for Rs 10,40,000 ex-showroom India, this 800cc motorcycle, the Ducati Scrambler Icon, is the most affordable Ducati that you can actually get your hands on in India currently. And for that price, well, you do get a thorough, proper package in terms of styling, features and performance. Now, this is one of the variants. This is the most affordable variant of the Scrambler, the 800cc model, because there are two higher spec versions. There is the night shift and the full throttle. Now, the full throttle comes with a smaller flat track style handlebar, a Terminioni exhaust, and the night shift, well, that comes with spoke wheels and a couple of more features as well. Both those models, now they retail for around 12 lakh rupees ex-showroom, but this one as a package, as the base model, well, it certainly sets a good starting point for Ducati in the country.